Has the Clifton Church of Christ in Cincinnati, Ohio, become a cult? Version 1.0. The subject of this video, of course, is has the Clifton Church of Christ become a cult? And why is this important? Why is this important? Because the Church of Christ claims to be a Bible-based church. And if it's not following the Word of God, then I believe it's a cult. Here are some Church of Christ slogans. In matters of doctrine, unity. In matters of opinion, liberty. Furthermore, we claim to do Bible things the Bible way and call Bible things by Bible names. Now, possible benefits. To make that clear, I'm going to take us on a little field trip here for a few minutes. This is an experimental civic betterment project that I'm working on. This is a sign on the side of my house that says, new, amazing, worldwide spiritual revival. And then it gives some more information here. I'll show you a close-up on that. It says, YouTube, this is my channel, Lightning Rod PBN, and the video title is W-S-R- 4 exclamation points hyphen and a number 1. Here is another version of that information, YouTube, Lightning Rod PBN, and WSR, 4 exclamation points and a hyphen number 1. As a pioneer in this worldwide spiritual revival, I'm trying to pave the way for people when they go into churches and ask the church to pray for a worldwide spiritual revival and try to tell people about this revival. You can't have churches running out of the building without due process, according to the New Testament. My definition of a cult is very simple and elegant. If an organization or a group of people claim to be the Church of Christ, they need to follow the Word of God. If they don't follow the Word of God and they do their own thing, that is, from my point of view, a cult. You can see right over here in the 15th chapter of Matthew, he said, your man-made rule, by your man-made rule, you have nullified the direct commands of God. These people say they honor me, but their hearts are far from me. This is quoting from Isaiah 29 and 13. Their worship is worthless, for they teach their man-made laws instead of from God. Further down in that chapter, Jesus said, every plant not planted by my Father shall be rooted up. So ignore them. They are blind guides leading the blind, and both will fall into a ditch. Here are some Bible verses related to prayer. Here are some of the Bible scriptures relating to my prayer request. First of all, come boldly to the throne of grace, Hebrews 4:16. Ask what you will, John 15:7. Commit your work to the Lord and we will succeed, Proverbs 16:3. The disciples were bold, Acts 4:31. Don't judge another man's servant, Romans 14, verses 1 through 4. God is able to do more than you can even ask or imagine, Ephesians 3:20. And down at the bottom, the righteous are bold as a lion, Proverbs 28:1. This is my specific prayer request. First of all, thank God for the progress last week. Help with the new website. Help with the state-of-the-art gospel outreach, systematic Bible study, worldwide spiritual revival, helpers with worldwide spiritual revival, and more wisdom. James 1:2 through 5. Whoops, that's James 1:5 through 8. This is where this whole situation happened. This is Berkshire Lane coming up the hill. This is the Clifton Church of Christ right here. And this is where where they, I didn't even get in the building. They said, you can't come in here. This is private property. That's the church building. So, without due process, I was met by 4 of Cincinnati's finest, and I call them the finest because they asked questions and to determine what situation before they started shooting. And I was scared, because, Bible says specifically not to get police involved in a church matter. I'll come to that in a minute. But they said, well, let's go down the bottom of the hill down here to this little park right here on Old Ludlow. And this is where we had the discussion with the 4 officers. Here is a little poster I made about how to solve church problems the Bible way. And you can see right here, first go to the problem yourself, Matthew 18:15. Next, take 1 or 2 witnesses, Matthew 18:16. Finally, take it to the church, Matthew 18:17. Do not call the cops, 1 Corinthians 6, verses 1 through 7. Also, who are you to judge an unmanned servant? Romans 1:14-4. And men judge by appearances, God judges by motives, 1 Samuel 16:7. Furthermore, as you judge, so shall you be judged, Matthew 7:2. And judge not, you won't be judged, Matthew 7:1. This is the bulletin of the Clifton Church of Christ, and here are some of the people that were either involved or witnessed this whole situation. What I'm claiming here is these people did not follow due process of evaluating the situation, and they got the police involved. The elders involved Wayne McCrae. Here's his phone number. Here's his email address. Larry Seward was another elder that told me that I couldn't come in because it was private property. And here's his phone number. Here's his telephone number or his email address. And the deacon that witnessed the whole thing that was standing there is Jeff McDonough. Here's his phone number. And the preacher, Fred Hammond. And all these people, everybody in the whole should have intervened and said, hey, wait a minute. This is not according to the Bible. You're not following the Bible procedure for dealing with a grievance, and you're getting the police and allowing the police to be involved in something. That's a church issue, and it's not a criminal issue or anything like that. This confrontation started out right up here at the Clifton Church of Christ. We went down the hill down to this little park right down here, and this is where I spoke with the 4 police officers I'm going to mention now. These are the police officers: Ann Lawley, Jason DePauli, Tony Nash, and Paul Myers. And they were like, well, what are you being involved in a church issue? This, had nothing to do with any criminal thing. It was a church issue. Here's some contact information. This is District 1. I spoke to Gloria over there, and here's the telephone number right here. And the public information officer of the Cincinnati Police Department, I spoke to Monica, and here's their telephone number right here. This is extension number 2, and district number 5, where this whole thing occurred. This is the telephone number for the desk, and extension number 2 also. So the summary of this whole thing is, has the Clifton Church of Christ become a cult? And I define cult as, if you claim to be the Church of Christ and you're not following the Word of God, then I believe you're a cult. You're following the traditions of men or your own agenda. We'd expect church elders to know the Word of God and follow the Word of God, and not, as it were, throw the book out the window. First of all, there is a practical reason for following the Word of God when you're dealing with the issue of a worldwide spiritual revival and prayer requests related to that revival. I'm citing 2 examples for publicly proclaiming what's going on here. First of all, in the book of Judges, right here, chapter 19, the rape of the Levite's concubine. And you remember he cut her body into a dozen pieces and sent it out. And the Benjamites they didn't want to have anything to do with it. And of course, that involved in a big war against the Benjamites. And also, Paul confronted Peter publicly about his hypocrisy about not eating with the Gentiles when Peter came, when the people from Jerusalem came. That's over in Galatians, the 2nd chapter, verses 11 through 14. So, based on this evidence and the clear teaching of the New Testament, has the Clifton Church of Christ become a cult? Judge for yourself. Remember the famous quote from Edmund Burke, all that's necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing.